Prynhawn da, a chroeso I ddinas Cardiff ac I seremoni radio Prifysgol Cardiff. Good afternoon and welcome to the city of Cardiff and to the graduation ceremony of Cardiff University. I'm Dr. Chris Turner, and it's with great pleasure that as University Director I welcome you all to today's graduation ceremony. We are here to celebrate our students' achievements, and I am particularly pleased to welcome parents, family and friends to join in this celebration. Students, today marks a marvellous milestone in your life, as it does in the lives of those who have supported you over the last few years, and it's good to see that so many of them are here today. Now, I'm sure it will enhance your understanding and enjoyment of the day if we spend just a few moments going through the procedures of the ceremony. For those of you receiving an award today, you probably thought that passing your exams was the biggest challenge in gaining your degree, but I'm afraid an even bigger challenge faces you today, because you still have to cross this stage, shake hands with the correct person, and I would advise you not to try to seek your award from anyone but the Vice-Chancellor. The University's President, Lord Kinnock of Bedwellty, will formally open proceedings, and the Vice-Chancellor, Dr. David Grant, will receive you to your award. You have already met our Chief Marshal, Professor David Williams, and shortly I will be joined here on stage by academic staff, by presenters, the proclamation reader, the Students' Union representative, Edward Jones. To my right, or rather to my left today, Professor David Skilton, the university's orator. He will introduce today's honorary fellows. Honorary fellowships are awarded at our graduation ceremonies to those who have achieved international distinction in their fields. And today we're extremely honoured to welcome Professor Peter McGuffin and Professor Nigel Stott to receive fellowships of the university. You'll see that the words used for the various stages of the ceremony are printed in your programme under the relevant heading. A presenter will read out the names of the students being admitted to the same award. When each name is called, the student will ascend the stage, walk towards the Vice-Chancellor and shake his hand, gently if possible. Whilst past experience has shown this to be a little more challenging than it sounds, your approach to the stage and your return to your seat will be carefully guided by our marshals. So don't worry, once the ceremony is underway, it really is a case of follow my leader. When you leave the stage, you will stand with your group, facing the stage, and the Vice-Chancellor will formally receive you to your awards. You will doff in reply, and you'll then be reseated by the marshals. When all awards have been received, students will be asked to stand to receive the university's greetings. Graduates of the Health Profession Awards will be asked to stand to affirm the oath, the text of which is detailed in the graduation programme, and you will also be welcomed into the health professions. Finally, can I remind you that St. David's Hall is non-smoking? Can I also ask, how many of you have your mobile phones with you today? Perhaps you would just like to check your pockets, handbags, etc. to make sure that they're switched off. We will be providing some musical entertainment later in the ceremony, and I can assure you it will be better than anything your combined ringtones on your phones can ever produce. Can I also invite you to clap only after the Vice-Chancellor has admitted each group of graduates to their awards, and not as each student crosses the stage. This will ensure that your hands are still functioning by the end of the ceremony. The ceremony will now proceed with the robed procession of academic staff led by the Chief Marshal. Thank you very much for listening, and most important of all, enjoy the ceremony.
Please be seated. Good afternoon and welcome to Cardiff and to St David's Hall. Prynhawn da, croeso I Gaerdydd a'r Neuadd Dewi Sant. As President of the University, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to this graduation ceremony, or congregation as it's more properly known, and I particularly extend greetings to parents and partners and those whose love and support for those graduating today will have made a major contribution to the success which we are celebrating. I also offer my personal congratulations to those who are graduating. I rejoice at your achievement, and you can be absolutely confident that the qualification that you've earned in this university is held in high regard, not just in the United Kingdom or in our continent, but throughout the whole world. That reputation of Cardiff's has been won over many years, and to maintain the attributes of strength, the university continues its commitment to advances in learning provision, with over £50 million worth of investment just in the last year, spread across high technology, student accommodation, innovative facilities in vision sciences, in information technology, clinical body scanning, child health, dentistry, and many other study disciplines. Such developments also obviously reinforce Cardiff's standing as one of Britain's leading research-led universities. We are now officially ranked 7th out of 106 institutions in the United Kingdom on the basis of the quality of the research done here. And we've consequently seen huge rises in research awards won by the university in recent years. Our annual income from that source passed £100 million for the first time in 2006, a 21% increase from the already very high figure in 2005. And the awards, interestingly, went to a great spectrum of activities, from medicine to law, from city planning to philosophy, from maths to theology. And it's performance like that which now puts Cardiff near the top in global rankings of the best places in the world to undertake postdoctoral work. All these factors have an obvious effect on the attractiveness of this university as a place of learning. This year, we had over 19,000 full-time and nearly 7,000 part-time undergraduate and postgraduate students. There are no less than 8 applicants for every place available in Cardiff University, and the overwhelming majority of the people who come here have made this university their first choice. Now, I suppose I should enter an apology for such patent boasting about this university, of which I am justifiably but inordinately proud. But frankly, any apology from me would be somewhat half-hearted, especially on such a day of celebration when there's manifestly and objectively so much to applaud. In any case, I plead mitigating modesty because I haven't even mentioned in my paean of accurate praise the several designated international centres of excellence in this university, the sporting, cultural and academic achievements of our students, including victory for the School of Engineering this year in the prestigious National N-Power Energy Challenge, the national and international prizes, awards and other distinctions awarded for excellence in research and teaching to our academic staff. And then, of course, a matter of particular pride this year, the opening of Cardiff University's International Academy of the Voice, one of whose brilliant singers, Seong, will be singing for us later. All these and many other attainments that are worthy of acclamation give manifold proof of prowess. They give proof of advancing standards of opportunity, excellence and innovation. They give proof of Cardiff's commitment to nourishing the potential of those who come here from all parts and cultures of the world to use their talents to fulfill themselves and to serve the interests of wider humanity. It's those achievements, of course, those individual achievements, which are the greatest source of satisfaction, and they are what we celebrate today at this congregation. So on that subject, I draw your attention to the fact that the procedures and words relating to the various stages of the ceremony are printed in your programme under the relevant heading. You may have heard some of this before from Chris Turner, but we've found from long experience that a little repetition is entirely appropriate on an occasion like this. As you'll see from that programme, after graduates have been admitted to their qualifications, by the Vice-Chancellor of the University, Dr. David Grant, Dr. Chris Turner, the University Director, will ask all graduates and diplomates to stand, and you'll be greeted by myself and by Mr. Edward Jones, the representative of the President of the Students' Union. Dr. Turner will then ask all of you who've received an initial award in a health profession to stand for the reading of the pledge, which will be undertaken by Ms. Angharad George, first in Welsh, then in English, And when she's done that, all diplomates and graduates in the health professions will affirm the oath in English. In the final part of this congregation, the auditor of our university, Professor David Skelton, will introduce Professor Peter McGuffin and Professor Nigel Stott for the award of Honorary Fellowship of Cardiff University in recognition of their great professional distinction. During the proceedings, I'd be obliged if you'd applaud only after the Vice-Chancellor has admitted each group of graduates to their degrees, not as each one crosses the stage. I know that such a restraint can be very difficult, even trying on an occasion like this, but time constraints and, of course, the consideration for the health of your hands makes such self-discipline necessary and appropriate. I thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that you will thoroughly enjoy this great ceremony.
Nerth gwlad ei gwybodaeth. Boed hysbys i holl aelodau'r Brifysgol ac ar hyd a lled y byd, fod cynulliad o Brifysgol Caerdydd yn cael ei gynnal heddiw ym Mhrifddinas Cymru. O dan awdurdod Siarter Frenhinol y Brifysgol, mae'r cynulliad hwn yn cyfarfod i dderbyn y myfyrwyr sydd, yn rhinwedd eu hastudiaethau a'u hysgol heictod, wedi eu haroli'n briodol yn unol â statudau'r Brifysgol, ac wedi cael yn deilwng o'i graddau. Wrth fawrygu llwyddiant y rhai sy'n graddio yn y cynulliad hwn, fe'i hatgoffwn o'i cyfrifoldeb i gyfrannu o werthoedd y Brifysgol hon. Nod iddynt hwy yw ceisio drwy eu cyflawniadau gwasanaethu ar lles pawb, ymdrechu sicrhau rhagoriaeth ym mhob peth, ac yn boeni am ddyfodol ein byd. Gwrandewch yn awchus ar ddoethineb, gan ei fod yn cynnig gobaith a gwirionedd ym mhob cenhedlaeth. Nerth gwlad ei gwybodaeth. A nation's strength is in its learning. Let it be known to all members of the university and throughout the world that today in the capital city of Wales, a congregation of Cardiff University is taking place. Under the authority of the university's Royal Charter, this congregation meets to receive those students who, by virtue of their studies and scholarship, have been appropriately examined according to the statutes of the university and found worthy of their degrees. We celebrate the success of those who graduate in this congregation, and in doing so, remind them of their responsibility to share in the values of this university. It is for them to seek, through their achievements, to serve the common good, to strive for excellence in all things, and care for the future of our world. Be attentive to wisdom, for it offers hope and truth in every generation.
I, Professor David Winford Thomas, introduce those who have received the degree of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. Sebastian Peter Adamson. Dean Julian Addit. Menaz Afzal. Shahid Farouk Akbar. Josie Alice Claire Alderton. Sarah Rana Alfaham. Isma Ali. Omar Hassan Taglsir Ali. Charlotte Louise Alcock. Rachel Elizabeth Andrews. Ashwin Anendan. Roger Anthony Idy. Jennifer Archer. Vinod Kana Arujuna. Victoria Ashworth, Fotini Michael Aspu, Gemma Elizabeth Aston, Neon Salahedin Baban, Fabod Babel Havaeji, Mary Kim Bardell, Leon Esmond Barker, Laura Francis Barnfield, Hannah Borden, Clifford Owen Baxter, and Andrew James Beamish.
Pnawn, good afternoon. At this point in the ceremony, and at other equivalent times, it is a tradition of the university for the Vice-Chancellor to speak in Welsh to receive each group of graduates to their awards. The Welsh phrase I will use, when translated, means, "Through the authority conferred upon me by the university, I receive you to the degree, which I will name, and to all the privileges of that degree. Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol, a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi, I radd baglor mewn meddygaeth a baglor mewn llawfeddygaeth, ac I holl ffrengau rachom." Congratulations.
Anna Marie Beaumont, Richard Bell, Adrian Bellwood, Adam James Bennett, Richard Bynum, Maud Ishan bin Maud Hamza, Leslie Ann Black, Eve Marie Blakemore, Zach Bloom, Fenintola Bolodiuku, Sarah Elizabeth Boulter, Kirk Benjamin Bowling, James Boyd, Timothy Mark Gray, Louise Britton, Catherine Ann Britton-Jones, Louisa Jane Brock, Karen Emma Brown, Patricia Danielle Burbridge, Melanie Ruth Burge, Charlene Patrice Burns, Joanna Faye Burton, Samantha Joy Burton, Sarah Elizabeth Cage, and Victoria Eva Carlin.
Trwy awdurdod y brifysgol, ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi, I radd baglor mewn meddygaeth a baglor mewn llawfeddygaeth, ac I holl ffrengau rachom. Congratulations.
Andrew James Carr, Amy Rona Carmichael, Sophie Carter Ingram, Wei Chang, Christina Ann Chekuti, Thomas Edward Chekuti, Michelle Wing Yi Chun, Faye Maria Christopherson, Thomas Williams Brooks Close, Ross Cliwett, Carolyn Cole, Anne-Louise Collins, Heather Connolly, Nevis Louise Conway, Emily Victoria Cook, Rodri Christopher Costello, Michael Cousins, Nicola Jane Creasy, Matthew John Creed, Veronica Mary Cunningham, Sophia Guillermo da Silva Evo, Sean David, Julian Francis Danino, Alan Lloyd Davis, and Bethan Sarah Davis.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniad chwi I radd baglor mewn meddygaeth a baglor mewn llawfeddygaeth ac I holl frania rachon. Congratulations.
Eleanor Mary Davis, Holly Frances Davis, Catherine Davis, Keziah Elaine Davis, Nevis Elizabeth Davis, T. Bao Chi Do, Elizabeth Margaret Dudley, Benjamin Andrew Duffin Jones, Fiona Duncan, Craig Ian Dyer, Nicola Earle, Sinan Robert Eccles, Samuel John Eden, Ray Alexander Devon Edwards, Jody Edwards, Alan Thomas Ellis, Timothy James Evans, Simon John Fairclough, Charlotte Fairweather, Edward Jongzong Farrell, Lydia Joanne Finney, David Edmund Seymour Flowers, Sean Lowry Folks, Jennifer Fox, Joanna Catherine Oram Fox, and John Anthony Francis.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniad chwi I radd baglor mewn meddygaeth a baglor mewn llawfeddygaeth ac I holl frenia rachon. Congratulations.
Shi Lin Gan, William Gauntlet, Hannah Claire Gaynor, Rebecca Geach, Sanjib Kumar Ghosh, Anis Xantha Gill, Paul Gordon Smith, Anthony Thomas Goff, Catherine Govier, Alice Sophia Groves, Malia Griffith, Eva Eva Martina Gustafsson, Ruth Elizabeth Hanks, David Hanna, Michael Hardway, Ewan Benjamin Harris, Keith Harris, Owen Harris, Jake Spencer Hartford Bynum, Jessica Harvey, Heleth Savan Havard, Alan Mark Henry, Charles Angelo Hinder, Shio Young Peter Ho, and Catherine Elizabeth Holgate.
Trwy awdurdod y Brifysgol, a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd baglor mewn meddygaeth a baglor mewn llawfeddygaeth ac I holl franiau brachon. Congratulations.
Noah Idris Thomas Howes, Mania Wynne Hughes, Eleanor Rachel Hewish, Kirsty Louise Hunter, Nicola Zan Hutchinson, Natalie Emma Illiff, Andrew Irving, Rosalind Sarah Jarvis, Joseph Edward Robert Jelski, Catherine Ann John, Sebastian Johns, Amy Claire Johnson, Alec O. Jones, Amy Jones, Amy Louise Jones, Andrea Mercedes Jones, David Jones, Ernesto Jones, Lewis Jones, Melody Harve Jones, Philippa Jean Jones, Sian Catherine Jones, Anil Kumar Camisetti, Alexandra Louise Callan, and Gemma Knightley.
Trwy awdurdod y Brifysgol, a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd baglor mewn meddygaeth a baglor mewn llawfeddygaeth ac I holl freniau y rachon. Congratulations.
Alexander John Kennedy, Vanessa Kerai, James Michael Kerrigan, Kunal Khanna, James Jin Koo Kim, Amanda Christina King, Garner Kruger-Tharson, Sarah Melissa Kyle, Anthony Langham, Amy Suzanne Larkins, David Leslie, Edwin Lim, Katie Sarah Lippett, David Hugh Lloyd Morgan, Jennifer Elizabeth Longbottom, David Christopher Lovelock, Rachel Carolyn Loudon, Victoria Lee Lucas, Ramanan Luxmithantham, Elizabeth Lyle, Artie Marto, Anna Marie Mengwari, Shahbaz Shafi Malik, and Timothy Mansfield.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd baglor mewn methygaeth a baglor mewn llawfeddygaeth ac I holl freniau rahon. Congratulations.
Paul marries. Nicholas John Marsden, Oliver Paul Marshall, Natalie Louise Masters, Beth Anna McGowan, Christopher John McCain, Laura Melville Shreve, Rebecca Margaret Belville-Jones, Hannah Marie Midwinter, Andrew Sutherland Miller, Catherine Rosamond Dorothy Mills, Bhumika Mittal, Carlotta Modestini, Catherine Sophie Moore, Tobias Edward Morehouse, Sebastian Thomas Edward Moss, Claire Anne Merlino, Soraya Musa, Nishanth Na, Michelle Neal, Sophie Sean Neal, Jonathan Charles Edward Nimick, Samia Gwen Aubergine, Fenella Ogden, Michelle Oliver, Sunita Umir, and Jacqueline Claire Orme.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd baglor mewn methygaeth a baglor mewn llawfeddygaeth ac I holl freniau rahon. Congratulations.
Jennifer Catherine Parvin, Reshma Chetna Patel, Mary Rose Penson, Nadine Ann Perez, Rhiannon Lucy Perrott Reynolds, Bethan Ruth Phillips, Sarah Eleanor Phillips, Hui Ling Michelle Fua, Angharad Ellen Piet, Neil Lawrence Pillinger, Richard Michael Thomas Ponton, Amy Marie Porch, Alexander James Porter, David Charles Powell, Jonah Giles Powell Turk, Laura May Price, Sophie Price, William Sean Pritchard, Angharad Pritchard Copley, Michael John Prosser, Rebecca Jane Rosamond Pugsley, Sophie Elizabeth Louise Piritz, and Gareth Allen Rees.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol, a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniad chwi I radd baglor mewn meddygaeth a baglor mewn trafeddygaeth ac I holl freniau rachon. Congratulations.
Michael David Rees, Sarah Jane Regan, Johannes LaRue Retief, Timothy David Reynolds, Elizabeth Mary Nickerson Rhodes, James Nathan Richmond, Yolo Ellis Roberts, Lisa Robinson, John Rochford, Kioma Russell Ruzamadi, Ravish Roy, Gareth James Royal, Evan David Schucht, Anna Schwopak, Rachel Elizabeth Shakespeare, David Chan Sheng Yi, Jennifer Claire Shortland, James Simpson, Tajinder Kaur Singh Rao, Lucy Carolyn Skitt, Michael Alexis Slattery, Anna Jane Smith, Jenna Catherine Smith, Natalie Ann Smith, Evstratius Socrates Sophos, Frederick Charles Speyer, Sarah Street, Sharifa Ruqayya Syed Mustafa,
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol, a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniad chwi I radd baglor mewn meddygaeth a baglor mewn trafeddygaeth ac I holl freniau rachon. Congratulations.
Rhiannon Marie-Louise Talbot, Li Na Tang, Ting Ching Tang, Natalie Taylor, Sarah Taylor, Alexandra Rachel Terry, Bethan Nia Thomas, Bethany Kate Thomas, Catherine Lisa Thomas, Sarah Rhiannon Thomas, Bryony Thompson, Stephen Frank Tilson, Gemma Trays, Neil David Trent, Sarah Jane Tripp, Ian James Tully, Stephen Wadsworth, Geraint Peter Warlow, Gareth John Watts, Gemma Lee Wiles, Catherine Elizabeth White, Emily Kate Wilkins, and Katrine Angharad Williams.
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol, a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniad chwi I radd baglor mewn meddygaeth a baglor mewn llawfeddygaeth ac I holl ffreniau rahon. Congratulations.
Katie Sean Williams, Oliver John Stephen Williams, Rebecca Louise Williams, Jeremy Stewart Williamson, Sarah Louise Winstanley, Emily Rebecca Whitman, Catherine Elaine Ray, Rebecca Elizabeth Wren, Jessica Frances Wright, Noor Haliza Zainal Abidin,
Trwy awdurdod a brifysgol, a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniad chwi I radd baglor mewn meddygaeth a baglor mewn llawfeddygaeth ac I holl ffreniau rahon. Congratulations.
I, Professor David Winford Thomas, introduce those who have received the degree of Bachelor of Science. Tequin and Irene Davis, Rosalind Grave, Catherine Margaret Jones, Morgan Pomeroy, Kimberly Marie Kendall, Edward Charles Glass Rowstorm, Samuel Beckett, Rhys Lloyd Davis, Alistair James Fairfield, Andrew Peter Grant, Victoria Rebecca Lewis, Leanne Marie Price, Natasha Sharma, Kate Emily Feller, Victoria Ann Fraser, Rhiannon Elizabeth Harris, Amy Stimpson, Andrew Paul Carson Stevens, and Lindsay Helen Cooper.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd daglor mewn gwyddoniau ac I holl frenio radd hon. Congratulations.
We now move to the presentation for higher degrees. I, Professor Malcolm Jones, introduce those who have received the degree of Master of Science. Maggie Elizabeth Edwards. Nesta Jones. Alison Kim Richards. Maya Davis. Andrea Lynn Edwards. Catherine Edwards. Andrew Douglas Langley. Alan Scott Rankin. Gareth David Thomas. Nicholas Paul Rex Travaglia. And Rebecca Jane Williams.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd athro mewn gwyddoniau ac I holl frenio radd hon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Malcolm Jones, introduce those who have received the degree of Master of Public Health. Karen Alyssa Bronstring. Hannah Catherine Broughton. Evelyn Chikuda. Gail Davis. Amanda Jane Edgeworth. Chibaziri Conrad Mukoro. Chioma Adora Benoegu. Diane Owen. Catherine Jane Sinnott. Melanie Roseanne Sodsky. Thelma Kaleri Tony Ubeari.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd athro mewn iechyd cyhoeddus ac I holl frenio radd hon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Malcolm Jones, introduce those who have received the degree of Master of Science. Ian Stewart Felsted. Jackie Dickens. Beverly Ann Dobbs. Refney Keegan. Sylvia Joan DeMarson. Rhian Jones. Zahir Udin Bhatti, Michaela Frankland, Laura Bennett, Catherine Haralambus, Lucy Kim Brothrow, Sally Ann Tapinder, Vishaka Tripathi, Helen Victoria Turner, James Alexander Joseph Arpino, Stephen Christopher Smith, Susan Claire Long Hayward, Vanessa Ann Neve, Gemma Catherine Roberts, Andy David Rodham,
Trwy awdurdod y Brifysgol, a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd athro mewn gwyddoniaeth ac I holl franiau rachon. Congratulations.
Divya Ganesh Nallur, Kin San Lin, Gwenda James, Christos Leopis, Nicola Jane Morton, Fiona Murphy, Carol Scott, Richard Hugh Shawnee,
Trwy awdurdod y Brifysgol, a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd athro mewn gwyddoniaeth ac I holl franiau rachon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Malcolm Jones, introduce those who have received the award and degree of Master of Philosophy. Rachel Elizabeth Raybould, Andrew Roger Trimby,
Trwy awdurdod y Brifysgol, a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniau chwi I radd athro mewn athroniaeth ac I holl franiau rachon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Malcolm Jones, introduce those who have received the degree of Doctor of Medicine. Suhail Alokatlani Al-Ghazal, Kayumas Ashkan, Gareth McIlvray Brown, Kevin Conway, Eva Lisa Henrik, Ridian Ashley Hurl, Suma Fazwell Kamel, Timothy David Kinyard, Hai Leong Lee. Ruth McKee. Noleila Mustafa. Michael Robert Stevens. Justin Stanley William Taylor. David Robert Tomlinson. Suzanne Veronica White. Mohammed Khalid Zia.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi I radd doethyr mewn meddygaeth ac I holl ffreniau rahon. Congratulations.
I, Professor Malcolm Jones, introduce those who have received the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Ho Kong Christopher O Young. Thomas Charles Clark. Natalie Alexandra Cope. Stuart Enoch. Natalie Jane Hepburn. Paul Hollingworth. Sarah Nicole Lauder. Darren Robert Michael. Christopher John Mellon. Charlotte Louise O'Connell. Timothy Rowan Pearce. Andrew James Ridley. Michael Richard Robling. Michael Allen Seeley. And Harrod Meyer Shaw. Carolina Elizabeth Taylor. Catherine Helen Wilson.
Rwy awdurdod a brifysgol a ymddiriedwyd I mi derbaniaf chwi I radd doethyr mewn athroniaeth ac I holl ffreniau rahon. Congratulations.
We now come to an important and indeed a solemn part of the ceremony, and that is the recital of the medical oath. Can I ask all of you who have received an undergraduate degree in any aspect of healthcare to stand? Can I also invite the platform party to stand? The oath reader, Angharad George, will declare the oath first in Welsh and then in English, and then ask you to agree the oath with the words, I do.
Addawaf mai fy nwenoriaeth gyntaf fydd gofalu am fy nghleifion. Byddaf yn garedig gyda phob claf ac ymdrechaf I gyfathrebu yn effeithlon gyda nhw. Byddaf yn parchu i'r addasau preifatrwydd a'i hawl I gyfrannu'n llawn at benderfyniadau ynglŷn â'i gofal. Byddaf yn onest ac yn ddibynadwy bob amser ac yn parchu a diogelu gwybodaeth gyfrinachol. Ni fydd fy nghredoau personol yn amharu ar ofal fy nghleufion. Trwy gydnabod cyfyngiadau fy nghymhwysedd, byddaf bob amser yn diweddaru fy ngwybodaeth am sgiliau proffesiynol. Os bydd gennyf reswm da i gredu, nad o'i fi neu gydweithiwr yn addas i weithio, byddaf yn gweithredu'n gyflym i ddiogelu cleifion rhag perygl. Ni fyddaf yn camddefnyddio fy sefyllfa broffesiynol, a byddaf yn gweithio gyda chydweithwyr yn y ffordd orau ar lles y cleifion. Yn yr holl faterion hyn, ni fyddaf byth yn gwahaniaethu'n anheg yn erbyn fy nghleufion na'n cydweithwyr, a byddaf yn barod i gyfiawnhau fy ngweithredoedd iddynt ym mhob achos. Rhoddaf yr addewid yma ar fy llw yn wirfoddol ac o ddifrif. I promise that I will make the care of my patients my first concern. I will be considerate to all my patients and will strive to communicate effectively with them. I will respect my patients' dignity and autonomy and their right to be fully involved in decisions about their care. At all times I will be honest and trustworthy, respecting and protecting confidential information. My personal beliefs will not prejudice my care of patients. Recognising the limits of my competence, I will keep my professional knowledge and skills up to date. If I believe that I or a colleague may not be fit to practice, I will act quickly to protect patients from risk. I will not abuse my professional position and will work with colleagues in the ways that best serve patients. I will never discriminate unfairly against patients or colleagues, and I will always be prepared to justify my actions to them. I make this promise solemnly, freely, and upon my honour. Do you agree to the terms of the oath?
On behalf of Health Professions Wales, I welcome you to the healthcare professions. Can I now invite all of you who have received awards this afternoon to stand so that you can receive the greetings of the President and the representative of the Students' Union.
Boed eich gofal yn wastad, dros mwydd ac yn rhedydd ein prifysgol. May your care ever be for the success and good name of our university.
You are now members of the distinguished alumni of this university. May the association with the university be cherished and be constant throughout your life, and may your care ever be for the fellowship of our university and the welfare of all people.
Can I ask the graduates to remain standing, and can I ask the platform party to be seated? Now, before the graduates are allowed to sit down, I'm sure you would like to join in a long-standing tradition at Cardiff University, and that is to pay a special tribute to your families, friends, and indeed to the academic staff who have supported you over many years, and who have helped you to reach this point in your life today. Can I therefore invite you to turn around to greet your family and friends, and to say a special and public thank you to them by giving them an enthusiastic and warm round of applause. I think top marks for that one. Please be seated.
Vice-Chancellor, identifying an individual's genetic liability to psychiatric disorders which appear to run in families is an extraordinarily difficult matter. many orders of magnitude more complex than colour variation in Mendel's common peas. Hunting for the markers of monopolar disorder, for example, is as hard as finding significance in the statistical distribution of 1,000 misprints in the London telephone directory. Yet such work is progressing sufficiently to restore the balance in psychiatric medicine in which, it may be argued, environmental factors have for several decades excessively dominated clinical and investigative practice. Professor Peter McGuffin, as Dean of the Institute of Psychiatry at King's College London and one of the pioneers of psychiatric genetics, is at the forefront of such developments. Professor McGuffin claims that he first decided he wanted to be a psychiatrist at the age of 16 after coming across Freud's introductory lectures in psychoanalysis in a local public library. He attended medical school at the University of Leeds and received training in internal medicine, became interested in genetics, and had his first publication in immunogenetic aspects of coronary heart disease. It was the transfer of this interest to psychiatry that brought him into the speciality which is the basis of his present world renown. He completed his training as a psychiatrist at the Maudsley Hospital and was awarded a Medical Research Council Fellowship to study genetics at the University of London and at Washington University, St. Louis, Missouri. He subsequently became a Medical Research Council Senior Clinical Fellow at the Maudsley and the Institute of Psychiatry, before taking up the chair of psychological medicine at the then University of Wales College of Medicine in 1987. He is generally credited, sir, with turning the Cardiff department into one of the leading departments in the United Kingdom. He left in 1998 to become director of the Medical Research Council's Social, Genetic and Developmental Psychiatry Centre at King's, London, where in 2007 he was appointed Dean of the Institute of Psychiatry, which pursues intensive and time-consuming gene-finding approaches as a prelude to functional genomics that will involve bioinformatics and the integration of genomics, gene expression, proteomic and brain research relevant to behavioural analysis. Together with top-down whole organism studies, these approaches define the new and important field of behavioural genomics. Professor McGuffin still lives in Cardiff, and his wife is also an academic psychiatrist. He rides horses, but the McGuffin Domestic Research Team is yet to turn its attention to the vexed question of whether there are genetic factors influencing a predisposition to fall off. Anna Davies Isgang Hellor, Cafwina Viti, Arathro Peter McGuffin, fel Cymrawd Eranrydydd Brifysgol Caerdydd.
Rwy'r awdurdod a roddwyd I mi gan y cyngor derbaniad di fel Cymrawd Eranrydydd Brifysgol Caerdydd.
Thank you, Orator, for those very kind words of introduction. President, Vice-Chancellor, members of the University, ladies and gentlemen. I do quite a lot of standing up in front of audiences and speaking in my job, and I have done over the years, and I don't normally get nervous, but I was a little bit nervous today, so I had to ask myself why. Of course, it's a very moving occasion, but also I think I remembered that it's exactly 35 years and 1 day since I graduated myself from medical school. And those 35 years ago, I never imagined that I would be the sort of doctor who was able to stand up in front of an audience and receive the sort of honour that I've received today. So I'm very moved and rather overwhelmed by it. The Vice-Chancellor asked us honorary fellows to say a few words of encouragement to the graduands of today. So the first piece of encouragement is all things are possible. But I wouldn't have got through medical school without learning some mnemonics. So I'm going to give you a little mnemonic. It's the 3 S's. So the first S is self-awareness. The second is seek your patient's ailment. And the last, I have to look it up. Oh yes, the last is self-actualization. There was going to be a 4th, which was don't get sued, but I thought on a solemn occasion like this I wouldn't say. Self-knowledge, if you're anything like I was 35 years ago, you'll have a few weeks off now, enjoying a well-earned break. And then you'll go onto the wards and you'll say, don't worry folks, everything is fine, I'm here and I'm a doctor. Of course, it won't take you very long to realise that your skills and your ableness to help your patients are fairly limited, and you have to learn lots of others. So self-knowledge is a terribly important thing, and it's going to be something which will stand you in good stead throughout your career. The best doctors that I've known in my career have been people who knew that they had a certain amount of knowledge, a certain amount of skills, but also they had areas in which they had to pick up and learn new skills and learn to solve new problems. The second S is seek the ailment in your patient. One of the extraordinary things about becoming a doctor is that people will tell you all sorts of things that they wouldn't dream of telling anyone else. And you will ask them all sorts of questions without being accused of impertinence. You should, in fact, I think, be very curious, pathologically curious almost about your patients, because many of the things that they tell you will actually coat what it is that they're suffering from, what their ailments are. You have to remember that every symptom is a mental event, not just psychiatric symptoms. Every symptom is a mental event, and it's important to seek out what the core of those symptoms is. And the last S is self-actualization. This sounds like an awful piece of psychobabble. It was invented, I think, by the American psychologist Maslow, but it's a very good term, really, because it really means seek to find self-fulfillment and enjoy yourself doing it. This isn't always easy when you become a doctor, but I think at present there's probably no better time in history to actually practice the science as well as the art of medicine. So go out and self-actualize. Your self-actualization may be hindered by things like MMC, which lay members of the audience may not know much about, but it stands for Messing Medical Careers. And I hope we're going to overcome it, because it's a very prescriptive system, and in fact, many of our people of my vintage, many of our careers have progressed by a series of almost semi-accidents, fortunate semi-accidents in my case. And the kind of sausage factory mentality of MMC doesn't allow for that. I'm glad to say that one of the best semi-accidents that happened to me was coming to Cardiff. I was, as you've heard from the orator, I was an MRC senior fellow. In those days, you could only hold such a post for 6 years. I was in my 5th year, almost about to go into my 6th. And then, behold, hey presto, they advertised a post in Cardiff, and much to my astonishment, I was appointed to a chair here. And it was one of the best things that has happened to me, because it's been really a wonderful experience being associated with what was then the University of Wales College of Medicine and now Cardiff University. I always wondered then why the two institutions just didn't get on with it and amalgamate. I know there were various political and national reasons why that couldn't take place, but now that it has taken place, I think it's a wonderful thing, and it's really great to see what was a very fine pair of institutions turn into a great world-class university. So it's a great honour at this stage to come back and be welcomed back into the fold, so thank you. Diolch yn fawr.
Vice-Chancellor, there are said to be two kinds of expert. Those who know a lot about a little, and those who know a little about a lot. Professor Nigel Stott defies these categories by emphatically knowing a lot about a lot. Bringing many different types of knowledge and experience to bear on medical matters is in his blood. His father founded the Valley Trust in South Africa, from which Professor Stott would have learned the power of an integrated approach to healthcare, combining curative services with interventions to promote sustainable agriculture, healthy diet, employment, social cohesion, and effective leadership. Professor Stott remains convinced that horizontal integration of all these aspects of human endeavour is the key to healthy individuals and healthy communities. After a year at Cape Town University, Professor Stott moved to Edinburgh out of distaste for the apartheid regime, and after excelling as an undergraduate and rapidly gaining membership of the Royal College of Physicians, he developed a career in general practice and academic primary care medicine. At Cardiff, he worked closely with our first shareholder in general practice, Professor Robert Harvard Davis, whom he succeeded, on what is now known throughout the world as the Stott and Davis model, or the Cardiff framework, which encourages clinicians to explore and use the exceptional potential in each primary care consultation. In the 1970s, he produced several landmark studies showing that antibiotics do not generally benefit otherwise healthy people with a common infection. Professor Stotts was one of the first medical school departments in Europe to appoint a social scientist, with whom he produced a series of studies on views of working-class women on health promotion, and these views continue to inform thinking about health promotion to this day. As a true generalist, he has always resisted vertical fragmentation into disease-centred specialisms and is known throughout the world for his teaching of a three-stage diagnosis, which takes account of biomedical, psychological, and social aspects of the patient's world. His broad perspective on life and medicine incorporates science, humanity, and art, and during his influential career he has practiced medicine himself, led clinical service delivery and development, delivered, organised, and developed teaching, and been a research pioneer, an informer of policy, and a contributor to his discipline and society at the highest level. Professor Stott has been awarded the Royal College of General Practice William Pickles Lectureship in 1993 and its Abercrombie Medal in 1997, a Foundation Fellowship of the Academy of Medical Sciences in 1999, and a CBE for Services to Medicine in 2001. He serves on the Higher Education Funding Council for Wales. Anrhydedus is gang hellor, cyflwyna fi ti ar athro Nigel Stott fel cymrawd anrhyddedd Prifysgol Caerdydd.
Rwy'r awdurdod a roddwyd I mi gan y cyngor derbaniad di fel cymrawd anrhyddedd Prifysgol Caerdydd.
President, Vice-Chancellor, fellow graduands, their families, and many distinguished visitors. Thank you not just for generous words and for the honour that you have bestowed on me, but also for making me feel very humble, as it's hard to recognise oneself when one finds oneself in this position. My wife and I have spent most of our working lives working in and for Wales, and we are touched by this recognition from this great university with an international reputation. We have enjoyed this ceremony, and thank you for it. And I just want to say that there's something that you, whether you are your first degree, your postgraduate degree, or dressed up in these crimson bits, we all have something in common today. And that thing is that we've been valued by the assessors of this great university. And it feels good to be valued, doesn't it? It's wonderful to be valued. So savour it today and enjoy it. I was advised by the university that I could tell you a joke if I wished to. but in fact I couldn't think of one that I could repeat in front of the President and Vice-Chancellor. So I took the second level of advice, and I thought I'd move, as my colleague Peter McGuffin has done, to giving you some advice from my perspective. And the first thing I want to reflect is that I trust that this great university has left you prepared for a lifelong scholarship and learning career. But that will only be really successful, you'll only continue learning lifelong, and you'll need to, if you have intellectual integrity. Intellectual integrity must be your companion throughout that journey. Without integrity, you will not be able to uphold the professional standards that the General Medical Council expects of you. Without integrity, you will not be able to uphold the standards that society takes for granted in you. And I make no apology for introducing just a cautionary note at this stage of the proceedings. Medical life and all that goes around it is a wonderful thing. It's full of privilege. It's full of being valued by your patients and by many others. But my involvement with the General Medical Council over the last decade particularly, and its work, has made me realize that amongst doctors, there's one thing that they find extraordinarily difficult to learn, and the older you get, the more difficult it is. So the earlier you start, the better. And that is that despite all the wonders of medicine, the discoveries of medicine, the tools that we have, sometimes errors occur, sometimes mistakes occur, and when they do, you need to learn to admit they have happened. There is an unhappy tendency for us doctors to retreat into silence or to try to justify our actions to ourselves or to others, tragically, just when the patient or their family most wants to know the truth about what went wrong. And they expect a sincere apology about what went wrong. And they expect assurance that lessons have been learnt, so the same thing is most unlikely to happen again. And they expect the institution to introduce the procedures that will make the same error most unlikely to happen again. So when your integrity is framed by openness, you will not only help your patients and their families to heal any hurt that's been done, but you also will convert error to learning opportunity. The second responsibility I just want to identify, and there are only two, is that those of you who graduate from this great university leave today with a responsibility to protect freedom. Not just freedom in the general sense, but freedom of speech. And this is a very important component of civic responsibility. And in our society, it is under threat. Freedom of speech is under threat, and our great academic institutions have a responsibility to protect it. And I don't just mean at the high political level. As doctors, as health professionals, you're going to meet situations amongst your patients at home, in your places of work, and indeed on platforms, political platforms, when people let you know that they feel inhibited from speaking out for fear of unpopularity, for fear of intimidation, or worse. And I want to remind you what Nelson Mandela said in his Long Walk to Freedom, that wonderful book that he wrote. He reminds us that his release from prison did not give him freedom. First, he had to learn that both the oppressed and the oppressor has to be liberated before freedom can be found. In other words, the bully is as trapped in his behaviour as is the person that he bullies. And Mandela points out that anybody who takes away another person's freedom is himself locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. The values of this great university promotes of scholarship and civic responsibility help to banish prejudice and narrow-mindedness. And my prayer for you is that you will uphold these values throughout your professional lives, and you'll help those of us who are older to do so too. Good luck, and the world needs you with those values behind you. Thank you.
Vice-Chancellor, Honorary Fellows, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my very great pleasure and a privilege indeed to be able to introduce you to a student in Cardiff University's International Academy of Voice. His name is Seong-wook Seong. He's a young baritone from Korea, and he's going to sing for us the Toreador song from Bizet's Carmen. Seong-wook Seong.
Seigneur, Seigneur, car avec les soldats, il est torero, et va s'attendre, pour plaisir, il joli combat. Le cirque est plein ce jour de fête, le cirque est plein du Yoda. Les spectateurs perdent la tête, les spectateurs s'interpellent à grand frotto. Apostrophe, Brigitte à pas de poste, jusqu'à dans l'empire, car c'est la fête du courage, c'est la fête des gens du cœur. Alors, garde, allons, allons, Toreador, regarde, Toreador, Toreador. Et songe bien, oui, songe à ton bâtard, car un noir te regarde, que l'amour t'attend. L'amour, l'amour t'attend. Tout d'un coup, on fait silence, ah, que se passe-t-il? Vide tristesse, le cœur s'élance en bondissant hors du toril. Il s'élance, il entre, il frappe, en cheval roule, entraînant un picador. Ah, bravo taureau, hurle la foule, le taureau va, il vient, il frappe encore, sacoa, se badarie, le destinaricor, le stirche plein on se sort, on franchit la grille, c'est autour maintenant. Alors, garde, alors, toreador, garde, toreador, songe bien, oui, songe tombata, cane noir tardeur, diga l'amour tata, toreador, l'amour tata, toreador, l'amour tata.
When a Korean baritone comes to the capital of Wales to sing the words of a French composer about a Spanish toreador, I know globalization is working after all. Magnificent performance, and they've got many, many, many more students of that kind of quality. A real delight. Seong, and I'm grateful to his accompanist, Mr. Brian Davis, who is not from Korea, for the performance that he always gives to us. I'd like to show off a bit the only words of Korean that I've got. Kamsahamnida. That means diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very, very much to Mr. Davis and to Seo. It now falls to me as the president of the university to bring these proceedings to a close. This occasion is naturally one of the most pleasurable, fulfilling on the university calendar, indeed in life itself. It's a joy to see the pride and the relief in all the new graduates as they go across this platform here. The relief is in some cases, of course, to do with throwing off this great burden of interminable examination. In other cases, especially among the young women, it's the fact that they've made it across this platform on those extraordinary contraptions and nobody has actually fallen down. Not a single motorboat went missing, nobody fainted, there were no accidents, no fuss. Absolutely perfect. Don't we British do these things very, very well indeed? To those who have graduated today, I say that I hope you take with you happy memories of your time and your work in Cardiff. I hope that you feel confident that your studies here have been a valuable contribution to your lives and careers. And I hope that you're determined to use your talents to your maximum capacity in order to fulfill yourselves and also for the benefit of your fellow human beings everywhere. To us, of course, you will always be Cardiff people, and I trust that you'll be proud to carry that identity wherever you go. I hope that you'll be willing to keep in touch with our alumni organisation and also be ready to use the advantages of being part of that worldwide network. I wish each of you good fortune, good health, and every success in the future. Llongyfarchiadau iechyd da a phob llwyddiant. Diolch yn fawr iawn.